All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be working on what is called modal auxiliaries. That's a really long, fancy word. Um, and the modal auxiliaries that we're going to be looking at today are may, might, can, and could. And we're going to talk about when we use those, when it is appropriate to use each one. A lot of times you'll hear people say, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And it's like, "Oh, no, that's not correct. It's may I go to the bathroom?" So we're going to look at some modal auxiliaries and see when to use them when it's appropriate. So the first one we're going to look at is may. May expresses permission to do an action. There's a possibility that an action will happen. Examples are, my parents said that my sister may go on the field trip. She may see penguins in the Arctic exhibit. Okay, so there's a possibility. I think it's important to circle possibility that an action will happen. The second modal auxiliary is might. That also has a possibility that an action will happen. The class might also see polar bears. Can is a certain ability to do an action. So when you say, "Can I go to the bathroom?" I know that you can go to the bathroom. You're not asking for permission. It's certain that you will be able to do that. And that's why it's inappropriate to use can instead of may, right? Can shows that you have an ability to do an action. It's certain, like we talked about in math. There's no probability or no impossible about it. The last word we're going to look at, the last modal auxiliary, is could. And that is the possibility of having the ability to do an action. It's less certain than can, right? So examples of these two are, we can go on Tuesday or Thursday. Perhaps we could also visit the desert exhibit. All right, so we're going to complete each sentence by writing a modal auxiliary from the chart. And we're going to write the correct modal auxiliaries. I'm closing the door because the neighbors have really loud music on, so. Thank you for being patient. I can't really listen to that and think about grammar at the same time. All right, so we're going to look at these modal auxiliaries. We're going to complete the sentence by writing either may, might, can, or could. And the trick is to write the correct modal auxiliary. And some of them are going to sound really close, but we're going to try to pick the best choice. Whenever it snows, Chantal watched the snow fall from her window. So I'm seeing whenever it snows, which means that this has happened a lot before, right? This is signifying that it's happened many times before. Chantal watched the snow fall from her window. So I think that's actually pretty certain, right? So I'm going to use, because it's certain, I'm going to use can. Whenever it snows, Chantal can watch the snow fall from her window. Absolutely. All right. Number 2. She wonders whether she visit the Arctic someday. That is not certain. So I'm guessing that it's a possibility that it could happen if she wants it to happen. So I'm going to say might. She wonders if she might visit the Arctic someday. That sounds pretty good to me. Number 3, her parents have said she go after she graduates from high school. That sounds like she's asking for permission, right? And when we're asking for permission, it's may. Her parents have said she may go after she graduates from high school. Chantal thinks she work hard and save enough money for the trip. Well, there's probably a possibility of her saving up enough money. And if there's a possibility, that means it's could. Chantal thinks she could work hard and save enough money for a trip. Sounds good. Number 5. She imagined how exciting it would be to see a polar bear. I would probably say can. She can imagine how exciting it would be to see a polar bear. All right. So hopefully you've figured out how to use the differences between may, might, can, and could. May is asking for permission. Might is there's a possibility it might happen. Can is it's certain it's going to happen. And could is the possibility of having to do an action, right? So hopefully that helps you to understand the difference between those 4. All right. Thanks for joining me.